Welcome to the Purpose Chasers podcast, where those who refuse to let odds or naysayers stand in their way come to chase and catch their true calling. I'm your host, Mark Crandall. In each episode, we shine a spotlight on artists and musicians who dare to dream bigger. You'll hear the real-world tactical moves these Purpose Chasers have taken to carve out their legacies, and I'll break down the marketing strategies you can swipe and implement today. Let's dive in and start chasing our purpose. Don't forget to leave a follow on Spotify or wherever you stream from. Let's dive into this episode. Purpose Chasers podcast, your host, Mark Crandall, and I am doing this little lead-in teaser of an episode that I just recorded with my dear friend and marketing expert, Bud Heaton, over on the Scale to Sale podcast. Well, I'm bringing that episode over here onto the Purpose Chasers podcast. It is the anti-LinkTree episode. That means if you're an artist or creator and you are using LinkTree, you are going to want to tune into this episode. We talk about why you don't want to be on it, why you want to own your own domain, and how easy it is at Scale to Sale Consulting to get moved off of one of these LinkedIn profile domain hosts and get you owning your own website and owning your own traffic. Let's tune into this episode where Mr. Bud Heaton interviews me on what I've been up to since leaving the construction industry. You're going to want to tune in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Scale to Sale podcast. My name is Bud Heaton. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Mark Crandall. We are excited today to jump into today's topic. We're going to show you why you're using your link in bio strategy completely wrong. We're going to show you how to fix it, and also some of the key ways that you can use to not only fix it, but also scale it ultimately so that you can make the sale that you want, you can make the exit that you want, turn your business into what exactly you dream it to be inside of what you do. So with that in mind, just a little context around this, right? There's so many creators out there, so many people that are trying to get attention, get people watching, go viral, do all this stuff. And what I end up seeing so many times is these people that they spend thousands of dollars or hours and hours, countless hours, building up these videos, building up their profiles, and they're getting these people coming in, and they don't really have any clear direction for them, right? It's kind of like looking in your kitchen for or going to somebody else's kitchen, right? Like you walk into the kitchen, you're trying to find a spoon, and you open a drawer, and sure enough, it's a junk drawer. There's nothing in there that's really usable. Well, there's not a spoon, and then you're just fishing around. And then finally, when you find the right drawer, it's really clear which one's the spoon, right? And that's what it's like when you go from one profile to another, one that's, kind of just thrown everything together, and the other one that's really clear, concise, and actionable inside of that. And so what we want to do is we want to show you how to take your LinkedIn bio strategy from, the random junk drawer, say that 10 times fast, the random junk drawer, and turn it into a really clear, simple strategy that allows you to scale your efforts, scale your business, and impact your audience the way you want them impacted. So it's interesting to note as well that these creator bios, like it's almost can't think of the right word. It's interesting to see how one person does something, and then the next person does it, and then the next person does it, but nobody really understands why they're doing it. They're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. And that's exactly what's happened with these link in bio strategies. And so our goal is that you come out of this with a really clear strategy, a really clear understanding of the issue, and then understanding exactly how to solve it. So Mark, go ahead and let's just get this kicked off. When you look at a creator buyer, what's one of the first things that you look at, or when you see inside of that link, like what does it usually feel like to you? And what's the truth behind what's actually happening there?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a softball hitting question here. So I guess I have to start with, taking Jonas's work on Producedbynef on. When I know the trades. I know roofing and solar. I obsessed over it. All the marketing, email. You saw all that I built in the 6 years that I did it. And so exiting and then going into a completely new industry, hip hop, music, I saw a whole new line of creators, because before going into roofing and solar, I had worked with coaches and therapists, and I was consulting them on their marketing and building sites and doing all that. I know many of you probably don't know that, but I do have a long history in this. And so when I got into music, with knowing all that I know about building a site, about having on-site SEO, searchable content, and then releasing blogs, getting off site, getting your searchable content and linking and all that stuff. I know so much about it now that when I got into music, I was blown away that 90-ish% of creators in music are using LinkTree. And I was just like, just mortified. Jonas was as well. Producedbynef was as well. And I immediately said, man, I must build you your own site. I must build you a funnel. It will not take me long. Let me get a template up. At least we're tracking data from start. And so the one thing that I will say to start, and then maybe you can go into another question here, is when you have a link tree, when you go to somebody else and you say, host my content, and then I'm going to drive people to your host where my content is, you're being pimped. You're allowing yourself to be pimped. I can't say it any other way. You're driving people to somebody, and I'm going to tell you how this cycle, I believe, works. And I might get red dotted for this. How I believe it works, you are driving people to LinkTree as an artist. So all of the traffic, the people that are, they're actual people. They have pixels and tracking mechanisms on the internet. When they hit your site, your LinkTree tracks all their data. It's all theirs. You might get their email, or they might click to your YouTube, whatever. You don't get to go back to those people. LinkTree does. And I believe LinkTree is selling all artists' data to ticketers. This whole cycle goes over and over and over. And so that is the biggest thing that I've seen, is the complete, I wouldn't even say it's neglect, because, and I don't want to crap on musicians, because dude, hip hop, they grind harder than any industry I've ever seen.
Well, they don't know any better, right?
Because they just they're like, oh my God, I'm booming. I need a site. That's so much tech and confusion. LinkTree. And then before they know it, they have a following of 250,000 people, and they're on LinkTree.
Yeah,
There's they can't track
the LinkTree for creating a simple solution for folks, right? However, that simple solution comes at a cost, right? Everything has a cost. It's just whether or not you're aware of how much you're paying for it, right? So, and here's the thing too, like, to just lean and step on the gas on this, right? The other thing too that you see with these LinkTree strategies or link in bio strategies is people use it like, like I said, the junk drawer, right? They just throw in their stuff. Hey, here's this video, here's this thing, here's that, da, 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 and there's just all these options, right? One of the things that I really think is an issue with that is the old marketing saying is that a confused mind will always say no. And when you're giving them 10, 12 options to choose from, like it's like, I don't know what I want here, right? And as a creator, right, when you're writing a song, when you're building something, when you're creating something, right, your audience has to walk away from that thing with a specific emotion in mind. That's when you write that song, when you write that thing, or do the, sell the thing, like there's always an emotion, there's always one specific thing that you're kind of thinking of. Yet we go onto our link in bio and say, hey, here's all this stuff, and it's like there's no real specific action, right? And I think creators would do so much better if they just really focus their efforts on saying, hey, here, what's the one thing that I'm doing right now? What's the one thing we're serving the audience with? What's the one thing that if I really focused in on this and built a strategy around that, it would perform way better than this list of stuff to choose from. You know what I mean? Any thoughts on that, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, what you just hit on is the whole point of this marketing game. I mean, Bobby J from Rockaway said it on the Purpose Chasers episode. He's a hip hop legend, if you don't know. He said it. He said, in hip hop and in music, people are so focused on, the kind of the snatch and grab, right? Like, just, I'm going to grab a fan's going to grab a CD, a fan's going to grab a CD. Bobby is so focused on his fan base And he said, like, man, if I can collect 2 emails and I can nurture those relationships, and it was like the first time I'd really heard an artist or a musician be like, really get it. But meanwhile, I won't say anything else, but yeah, it's like he gets it, but it's not there, right? So it's like an email list of 50 could provide you, and I'd love to hear your experience on this, bud. I'm going to flip the interview a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
An email list of 50 could make you more money than a following of 10,000 without a plan.
Yeah.
Is that wrong, bud?
No, I would agree with that tenfold, right? Building followers around, especially in consumer markets, building followers, I mean, anybody can show some skin on the internet and build a following, right? But monetizing the audience is a little bit of a different game. And the first step to monetization always lies within the trust and connection you have with that audience. And so the deeper you can build that relationship through calls to actions, through getting their emails, getting their data, right? Saying, hey, I've got their email address, I've got their phone number, I've got their mailing address. All of a sudden now they've trusted you with some of their most important data, right? They don't just give that away. They give it away for something in exchange, right? Legendary marketer Frank Kern calls it the ethical bribe, right? And a lot of times what we see is and what we want to do is have something in exchange for value, right? I'm going to give you this thing in exchange for your name, email, and phone number. And with that exchange comes, the ability for me to reach out to you and sell you an album or sell you a thing, or whatever it is, right? And so the value of a 50-person email list, the trust and connection you have with those 50 people. I mean, just think about it for a second, right? If you were an artist and you were trying to like, grow and build your following, and you're like frustrated that you only had 50 views on a video or something. Imagine if you had those 50 people in a private venue, right? Like, what's the level of impact you could have with those individuals? How many albums do you think you could sell with that, right? So don't discount small views, don't discount small numbers, because especially as you're beginning, right, the value of that small number will eventually grow. I think of I live here in Utah, and one of our hometown favorites is Post Malone, right? Because he lives here and has a house here, and people regularly see him. He was just down at the rodeo in Spanish Fork down here in Utah, right? And he showed up randomly to talk to the national champion guy and hang out with them, and it was a whole thing, right? He's got a Raising Cane's with his brand on it, like he's local, and he shows up and he builds community, and he builds outside of just what he does on his shows, and outside of his music, right? And that's where, like, again, I say that just as examples of trust and connection with an audience, right? So that's what I would suggest is something along those lines. Is that what you're looking for, Mark?
Yeah, you nailed it. And I want to really, really dive into meat and potatoes of this episode.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna repurpose some of this over onto Purpose Chasers podcast as well. And this what I'm about to say is, and then I'm going to ask you a question once I get done saying what I'm going to say. What I'm about to say is going to simplify marketing. So when you have a site on LinkTree, right? We have a marketing platform called GoHighLevel. I don't white label it, never have, never will. Don't think it's necessary. It's called GoHighLevel. I've been in it since the start. Bud's been in it since the start. So by
the way, you've also interviewed the founder. So
I have.
Yes. Don't discount that.
I have interviewed the founder, and I also have done a spotlight session, which we can get all of that linked into the show notes of this. So I did a spotlight session in the GoHighLevel community. I digress. So with that being said, what I did with Producedbynef when he came to me with his LinkTree page was I transitioned him to a more traditional website. Now he's requesting to go back to a more traditional LinkTree. So this inspired me. And so then I'm like, all right, how do I get a opt-in at the top of a LinkTree? How do you make these LinkTrees bomb? And so then I start, we won't even call them LinkTrees. We're calling them landing pages because that's what they are. That's all it is. It's a templated landing page. That's all it is. We're going to simplify it. You go into WordPress, you want to build a site, you can go spend $99 for a template. It's the same thing. So because of this GoHighLevel knowledge that we have, Bud and I have custom LinkTree style landing pages that are way bomber than what you will see on there. And we have add-ons, very, very affordable add-ons that you can increase. You can have a LinkTree with a blog coming out the gate with us. You can have a LinkTree with email automations coming out the gate with us. So we have simplified this process and cleaned it up so that within 72 hours, you could be off of LinkTree if you had a domain and connected and rocking and rolling inside of your own domain managed by us. So this is 6 months of learning. I have crafted all of this and put it all together to bring Bud together to bring this out to a larger scale. I wanted to simplify the moving you over from LinkTree. You have nothing but images, links, and buttons. That's all you have on LinkTree. When you move over with us, you get custom YouTube embeds where those images are if you want. We can have image reels playing. We can have some really, really, really custom stuff to optimize what Bud just talked about.
Hey, Mark, give me
opt-ins.
Give me like 30 seconds on why that matters, right? Because it's one thing to note that like when you're putting so much time and effort into like creating an audience and like creating content that brings people to you, and then you send them to a link in bio with like a whole bunch of crap that doesn't really make any sense versus a comprehensive strategy like what you're talking about. The attention spans of our audiences are so small now, right? And there's more, and actually it's not even necessarily that they're smaller, it's just that there's more competition, right? So we have to be more impactful with less real estate essentially. So like go into understanding like that, like the psychology of that.
And this would be a Steven Larson boom moment. I mean, I'm about to drop. I don't even know if I want to drop this, but it's I have figured out a way to shut ticket sales down, the need for ticket sales, for artists to rely on ticket sales. So when you take a LinkTree and you're driving your traffic to a LinkTree, right? You don't get to retarget those people in advertising. You don't get to track any data in Google Analytics. You don't get to track any data off of your Facebook pixel. You don't get to track any click rates. You don't get to track anything. LinkTree gets to track it all. And then LinkTree sells the mass data because they have 2 million, 3 million people that they're tracking all their data to the ticket companies, to the venues, to whomever they want to sell your ad, like all of your ad data to. They're doing it. It's happening for facts. I'm not a hater. I'd love to be at the table on one of those deals. They're fat, I'm sure. So when you move over to your own landing page. So I'm going to give you an example. If I was organic word nerd, that was my rap name, and I was on LinkTree. So it was LinkTree/organic word nerd. That was my URL, and you typed that in and you went over there. They'd track all my data for organic word nerd. They would. When I get my own landing page and I say, I don't know how to do this, guys, and Bud goes, hey, I just did a search, organic word nerds available.com right now, $7.99. We're going to upsell you $5 for the purchase. Boom. You want it? Bang. We'll manage the domain for you. We do all that. Very affordable. We're not talking a lot of money. And the transition from you buying a domain to us linking it to the landing page that we have just built for you is very, very easy. Now, my domain is www.organicwordnerd.com. Go there. That's in my bio now. My URL. Go there. Now, everyone that goes there, because I locked in with Scale to Sale Consulting and they have my Google Analytics set up and they got my all my social tracking set up, I get so much data now on organicwordnerd.com. And I don't really know what to do with that data, but Scale to Sale does. And so when you have an event that you want to market for, or here's the play. I get booked on this festival, Fence Post. It's happening this weekend. They want the word nerd there. They want me to drop bars, right? So I got Producedbynef coming. There's no tickets selling. What do? we drop false scarcity. So tickets go on sale and then they go on sale again. And now they're still on sale. I thought they were not going on sale anymore. I thought it was going up, but they're still on sale. So now there's false scarcity and they run a giveaway, but they flop it and they can't sell tickets. Guess what, guys? I did 2 podcast episodes with you. I drove all of your fans to these landing pages that I did called blogs. Now we could, if you wanted to, go resell all of that data to others. Like I could literally say, hey, Fence Post, if you want to sell tickets, I have your audience. You help me drive them to this landing page. So it's Organic Word Nerd now takes on a whole life of its own. And you now get to retarget in advertising to your audience if you're selling merch, if you have tickets coming up, if you have an album drop. But like more specifically, Google, or what I call the Suge Knight of the internet, will start to respect you because you're not being pimped anymore. Sorry, I just dropped a lot.
No, it was great. Simply put, and don't let me put words in your mouth here, but what you just offered up as the solution, you just kind of cast the grand vision of it. But to simply say it, would you agree that it's basically putting the artist back in control of what's going on with their audience? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. And you take hold of your name on the internet. SEO is this simple. Go to your phone, open a search engine, and type in elephants making muffins. What comes up? That's SEO.
Yeah.
Who has done the work to come up for elephants making muffins? I don't know who has, but somebody's doing SEO work for elephants making muffins to come up in search. Right. What we do is we work hard to make sure that Organic Word Nerd is coming up in search on the internet. So owning your site, what you're talking about, over time, your name grows on the internet. And as your name grows on the internet, Suge Knight, who runs Google, will gain respect with you. And the more respect he gains for you, the more the internet, or she, will start putting your stuff in front of other people organically, which is what I love and I know you love. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, 100%. Because if you think back to like, why do record labels exist in the first place? They have distribution, okay? And what you're talking about is taking that same exact distribution and putting it into the control, putting the artist in the driver's seat of said distribution using SEO, using copywriting, using technology that they control completely, and the data all within that ecosystem to say, hey, I've got a show coming up. I need to sell some tickets. Let's spin up some Facebook ads and sell some tickets. Let's spin up.
Here's the play right here. I'm going to drop some more heat. Boom! I'm going to drop it, Larson. Don't hit me with a cease and desist. I love you, baby. I'm going to drop this as well. So I have done 2 of these on the Purpose Chasers, and they both went bananas. If you want something to do to hype your artist, your audience up and hype something up, do this. I interviewed 2 artists and I said, I will interview you, but I want to do a giveaway inside of your Facebook communities. Because most bands have large Facebook communities. And I did. And I dropped blogs and all the YouTube embeds and Spotify embeds and links and all the nerd stuff that I do. And I dropped blogs and they had to go hit these blogs and do these things to win these giveaways. And then what I said to the artists, which they just didn't care about, is we have all this data if you want to do anything with it. Like you literally drove all your fans to this and they didn't. So then I said to myself, well, Purpose Chasers is going to become a distribution channel then. If these guys don't care, I do. And so, yeah, the larger play of Purpose Chasers is now to become a distribution channel to collect this data to then go. I mean, if there's any festivals out there that are listening, or if you're in the business of capturing some data, we got data.
Yeah.
And the music industry doesn't seem to care about it. And I'm here on this episode to start talking with Bud, and Bud's going to rip on this more and more and more, to start talking about why you should care. Because if you're building a brand and you're building a name online, don't let other people own your name in search. Yeah. It's just not fair.
Yeah. Hey, guys, as we're wrapping up and you're considering this as an option, definitely come to us, come talk to us. Mark, how do they get a hold of us? What's the next step? If somebody's like, okay, all right, I'm in, how do I take back my name? How do I take control of my distribution? How do I take control of my marketing and get my music listened to and make the impact that I want to have? What's next for somebody?
I would say number one, every artist, musician, creator is different. So everyone's coming with a different set of assets that they've already created. So step number one is an organic audit. It's free and for fun. Bud and I will go through, and the team will go through all of your assets. We will provide an audit, and we will book a call, or you will book a call with me, and we will go over that. ScaleToSaleConsulting.com. Bookmark, ha ha ha. It's very, very easy to remember. You will get to a landing page, click the button, get on my calendar. And like I said, you put the data inside of the form that I request. I will go do back end work before our call. So we will get on the call ready to rip, should you be ready to rip.
Boom. Love that. And they get the strategy right there. They'll know exactly how it works and it'll be custom to them. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, man. Well, hey, Mark, I've loved this interview. And this has been so fun. I'm looking forward to our next episodes. So again, if you want to tap in and get connected with us, get control of your marketing, get control of everything, take back your name, get your distribution up, ScaleToSaleConsulting.com, bookmark, and lock in. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Chasers podcast. If you're ready to take action, don't wait. Head over to thepurposechasers.com to access notes, resources, and a host of other tools to keep you moving forward. And if you want to supercharge your digital presence, visit ScaleToSaleConsulting.com to partner up with my team and amplify your impact. Let's turn your purpose into your biggest asset. Until next time, keep chasing, keep creating. Your purpose awaits.